Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man, I'm Buloko, bringing you my Android 13 deck profile. This has become one of my favorite decks to use. It's really fun, and it's actually extremely consistent with what it needs to do, and even giving to your heavier cards as far as taking out your opponent. First starting with the leader. If I have an Android 14 and 15 in my drop area, I can awaken if I have, even if I have 6 or less life. I can awaken with 6 life. And to awaken, you draw 2. You flip him over. He has auto. When he swings, he draws a card, which is kind of a typical thing. And then another auto, the very first one, is when your opponent's Son Goku or battle cards with the energy cost of 6 or less are placed in the drop area, this card gains crit. Now, everybody thinks it's just Son Goku. It's Son Goku or battle card. So it's anything. It's you KO anything, it's going to give this card crit. It's just a consistent loop. You're going to see why you always gain this effect. But first, I'm going to go ahead and start with the main engine, things that I really like. First off, I'm running 4 of the Android 13, the Brilliant. It's one of the main things. If you have 14 and 15 in the drop area, the Unit Absorb, place both of those cards underneath this card, and then you can go and grab the 7 drop and play it on top of this card from your hand. Now, the problem is you can't play this card if there's another Android 13 on the field, which is fine, mainly because once you get that first one out, you're going to do what you need to do with it. If they get rid of it, well, guess what? You got another one at hand. You get the other 2 back, Android 14 and 15 back, and you go on your opponent. I'm running 4 of the Androids 14 and 15. With this card, you place it in the drop area, and if your opponent is, not your opponent, if your leader is an Android 13, you can draw a card. Both of those main engines. 2 of these are going to be out there however you need it to get there, and you're going to be drawing cards consistently. The one thing about this is when you're trying to get to the 7 drop, we got an email straight from Bandai, and pretty much is saying that you have to have 2 of these cards in the drop area to go underneath Android 13 to get to the 7 drop. I know a lot of people are kind of just like, well, the card reads as it's saying it's 14 and 15, but you know, at some point maybe it get overruled. We'll see what happens later on. I run 3 of the 7 drops, Android 13. But this card comes into play. It has a double strike, and then as soon as it hits the field, your opponent KOs one of their battle cards. Next auto, whenever your opponent's battle cards are KO'd by a skill other than this card's skill, they have to discard a card. So you see where it's going. You get here on turn 3. You make your opponent pop a card. You're automatically going into your leader's auto effect, and he's gaining critical already. And then anytime you destroy something, just consistent, like I keep saying, consistent with this deck, your opponent's you're gonna keep getting critical, and then you're gonna keep making your opponent discard a card. I run 2 double strikes. I think that's just kind of standard in any deck, in my honest opinion. Just because when you need to have early game pressure, or in like any late game, you don't have a double striker on the field, then this is where the card's going to come in handy. I run 1 Fu, just because I want to draw more cards over round. Double strike. I was running more of this Android 13 Age of Destruction, but I never played it, so I just kind of reduced it down to 1. But I can understand where it comes in good. It has crit. You play it for 3, pay 2, and then you pretty much make your opponent KO a card. I run 2 of the SSG Vegeta, Energy of the Gods. When your opponent has 2 battle cards on the field, you reduce this card's energy cost by 2. So you're paying it for 1. And then Sparking 3, this card hits the field. You choose any number of your opponent's battle cards, which the cost adds up to 2, and then you KO them. So really, you can hit any of like that 1 drops or just hit a 2 drop. I run 2 of the Chile the Beautiful. I would have ran more, but I only have 2. But it gets the job done. As far as you're blowing up the field, your opponent's discarding the card off this effect, and then if you have the 7 drop on the field, then your opponent's going to be discarding another card. So you're making your opponent discard 2 cards if you have both cards on the field. I run 2 Speedy Interest Chile, blocker. Once you blow up something on your opponent's field, you put this card into play. Yeah, you can only have one in play, but it really comes in handy as far as being a blocker. I run 2 of Speedy Partner Limo. You play this card, and if you have Chile on the field, then your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. You can see pretty much making your opponent discard is, of course, the key to any green deck. But this is just add a little bit of extra to it. I run 2 of the Android 16s. It's a blocker, and it has Revenge. And the amazing thing about this card is every time it KOs your opponent's battle cards, it stands back up. So if you swing at your opponent on your offensive step and it's just destroying cards, well, it's going to constantly stand back up. So that helps as far as taking little things off the field. And most opponents are going to like try to waste cards to try to get rid of this card or to stop it from standing back up. I run 2 Preemptive Strikes. It's kind of one of the given cards for me in a green deck. Your opponent goes to play a card that's 4 or less. You tap 2, play this card. And then it's like the card never hits the field. So your opponent doesn't get the auto. So you need to make sure that when you play this card, like if your opponent's about to do something, you tell them, wait a minute, like I counterplay. Because most people they'll play a card and try to go grab the next thing. Just be like, hey, I counter that. Something new I added to this deck was the King Vegeta Surprise Attacks. It has Revenge because I see a lot of times my opponents are like really trying to take out my cards. So I figured like, hey, if you're going to take out my card, then I'm going to play something that's going to make you take out your card. So you're going to get another card KO'd, and then you're going to have this card again. And plus it gives them a +10. One card I completely forgot about was Combination Attack Android 14, which honestly, I may dump one of these to up him up to maybe 2 or 3. On your turn, when you combo with this card, your opponent chooses one of their battle cards and KO it. And you can see whether it becomes a really, really good thing. If you got your opponent having something like they have one heavy card on the field, doesn't have bigger, you swing, you combo with this card, they got to get rid of that card. I play 1 of the Android 16 Super Combo. This one doesn't let you draw, but when you have 4 or less life, you play it, your opponent discards a card, and it gives +10k. It's helped me in quite a few games, so I'm definitely going to bump it up to 2. Right now we're on 3 of the Paragus. Amazing card as far as a combo. You draw 2, warp 1, and then you're getting +10. I'm running 4 of the Shocking Death Balls. I mean, if you need to awaken, if you haven't awakened yet, and you didn't have the 14 to 15 in drop area, this will help you awaken. You pluck 1 life, or you can just tap the 1 to play it. You choose Shocking Death Ball. You choose one of your opponent's battle cards with the energy cost of 2 or less, and you KO it. Again, if you haven't awoken yet, then if you have 5 in your drop, sparking 5, then you can go ahead and pluck a life, play this card. I'll run 2 of the Surprise Attack, Speedy Surprise Attack, excuse me. Since your leader is an Android, this is a negate. You negate your opponent's attack, and then you send 1 card from your hand to drop area, and then you KO one of your opponent's cards with an energy cost of 3 or less. I'll run 3 of the Dr. Giro. I only run 3. I mean, I could do 4, but I just chose to run 3 for the moment. It helps you search out for those pieces that you need to get to where you need to get to. Usually, I play 1, then I try out the other ones. I might end up playing 2 if I haven't found what I needed, but usually I'll have what I need to make the ball, get the ball rolling with this deck. I run 4 of the new Final Power Son Gohan. Really, really good card. Of course, we have other options out there, but this is one of the better ones to go with. Excuse me. You swing, you pluck a life, and then this card gets +10k and crit. And if you read that card, it says when this card attacks, you may choose. So it's not when this card attacks and your opponent negates. It's when this card attacks. You need to make the decision right then and there. Are you going to pluck the life or you're not going to pluck the life? Don't wait till your opponent negates and they're like, well, I'm still going to pluck the life anyway. Because that's just not how it works. The auto fires off. And then I run 3 of the Super 17s. Really good game ender because your opponent cannot negate this card's attack. And then when you play this card, You discard 2 cards, your opponent discards 2 cards. Again, you can see where that comes in handy. If you've been having like the most amazing like hand ever, like you're like top decking like a god here, and then you force your opponent to just whittle down to nothing. Your opponent has 2 or 3 cards left in hand. You play this, drop 2 cards, they drop 2 cards, and you just go in and swing. But that's my deck profile. Very fun deck, very consistent deck. If you haven't seen the video on it, go check out our other matches, and hope you enjoyed.